Hezbollah militants in Lebanon and Israeli forces continue to trade cross-border attacks. The Israeli military says it has carried out a series of airstrikes on Hezbollah targets and intercepted a number of projectiles launched overnight from Lebanon. The IDF said in a statement that the Israeli Air Force had struck Hezbollah military structures in southern Lebanon. But according to Lebanon's health ministry, 3 emergency personnel were killed and 2 others wounded in the attack on a civil defense team putting out fire. Later, Hezbollah said it launched a salvo of rockets at northern Israel in retaliation. The Iran-backed Hezbollah group has exchanged near-daily fire with Israeli forces, and Israeli airstrikes and shelling have not hit a pause on other fronts either. The war between Israel and Hamas has entered its 12th month, but with little sign of respite for Gaza as well as for Israeli hostages still held there. 11 months into the war, numerous rounds of diplomacy have so far failed to clinch a deal to end the conflict. Israeli military strikes across Gaza have killed at least 61 people in 48 hours. At least 3 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on a school in Gaza. Gaza's civil defense agency said the strikes targeted a school turned shelter for displaced Palestinians, while the military reported it struck a Hamas command center. The Israeli military said it conducted a precise strike at the school. As Israel continues its offensive, foreign intelligence agencies of the US and the UK have warned that the world order is under threat in a way that they haven't seen since the Cold War. CIA Director William Burns and MI6 Chief Richard Moore have said that they are working ceaselessly for a ceasefire in Gaza. The spy chief said their agencies had exploited intelligence channels to push hard for restraint and de-escalation. Burns also said a new hostage ceasefire proposal was being finalized and would likely be presented within days. But he stressed that ending the conflict would require some hard choices and political compromises from both Israel and Hamas. For more on this, we are joined by Scott Lucas, who is a professor of international politics, Clinton Institute, University College, Dublin. Scott, my first question to you is, in view where ceasefire talks are on, but no consensus seems to be reached upon, how do you view this latest strike?
The starting point is that until we get a ceasefire, Israel will continue its military operations, which include these airstrikes across Gaza. You've mentioned some of the casualties. The deaths in the school, the latest school to be hit, have risen to 8. The deputy director of civil defense for Gaza has been killed along with 4 members of his families. Of course, we're talking about a death toll of more than 40,000 since October 7th. The broader question is, well, will we get that ceasefire? And I must be very honest with you, no. For all the talk, the latest being from the heads of the intelligence services of the US and the UK, we're not close to a ceasefire. And that is not, it's primarily, I mean, it's not the only reason, but the primary reason is because of Benjamin Netanyahu, the Israeli prime minister. And only last Monday, as the talks were trying to reach an agreement in Qatar, Netanyahu effectively sabotaged those talks by inserting a demand, which is that Israeli forces would have to maintain an occupation of part of Gaza, even if there was an agreement for a ceasefire.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.